Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Brenda Blackman. They grace the covers of magazines, model clothing designs from around the world, and strut their stuff on the catwalk. Now the world of modeling has taken on a whole new role: motherhood. The Discovery Health Channel takes us behind the scenes of these models turned mothers, from the spotlight to the delivery room, and shows the balance between fashion and family in the world of a runway mom.
The good news about Plum is that Farley booked the cover. She is going to look like a fashion maternity queen. She's going to turn on that shoot. It's going to be so amazing.
So we are at the Plum shoot, and it's pretty exciting because we're wearing Zach Posen, and I think I'm actually shooting with him today.
Hi, Zach.
Hi. How are you? Farley.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Have you tried any of the outfits on?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's huge. He's taken New York by storm. And I'm just a mom from the suburbs about to pop, so this is like a big day out for me. I got to break out of the box and go from, you know, something that is traditionally catalog and commercial to this just beautiful goddess feeling, blowing editorial, which is going to be a beautiful keepsake, not only for me, but for my child. So, you know, to me, it was a privilege.
And with me now are Liza Elliott Ramirez, Executive Director and host of Runway Moms, and President and founder of Expecting Models. Hello, Inc. Also joining us, fashion model Farley Boyle, who's a runway mom. Welcome to both of you.
Hi.
It's so great. And what
Thank
a concept. It just sounds so fantastic.
It's been a great experience for both of us. We have really found a niche in a market that was untouchable because women weren't supposed to be trendy and sexy at the same time.
Of course you're supposed to wear, remember those two-piece things? Or, you know, I'm sure you're both too young, but, you know, I think I remember in some history book somewhere, you know, those two-piece things, you know, it was like a two-piece long top that was supposed to go way below the belly line, and
Yeah, not anymore.
Flat shoes were always, you always had to wear flat shoes.
Well, she was a smarty pants because most of the agencies, as soon as a model got pregnant, discarded us and said goodbye and come back once the weight is off. And she decided, all these beautiful girls that are getting pregnant, why don't I put them in one agency? And let's start capitalizing on the maternity booming market. And all of a sudden, she had a full-time job, and a spin-off of that is Runway Moms.
And of course, it's not just the look of Runway Moms and the beauty of it all, which is there too, but some real important health issues are focused on.
Absolutely. Not only does it spotlight from the runway to the delivery room, but it's very informative. So there are helpful tips on how to get through your pregnancy, and it explains in normal terms what low amniotic fluid means, what a breech birth is, what a C-section is. And some people don't know what the definition of some of these medical terms are. So it's very educational.
But in terms of being a runway mom, is it different from being an average, let's say I weighed 200 pounds before I got pregnant, to feeling like I weighed 300 pounds once I got pregnant, and I'm not going to feel cute after the baby's born? You know, is it different, though?
You know, I think so many women, I've been approached on the streets so many times, and it's always been by women that are like, you're just like me. I can't believe, you know, somebody like you went through the same things. You know, I went through listeria, I had 2 miscarriages, you know, I survived a near tragedy the day that I came home from having, you know, my 3rd baby. And so it all of a sudden took this glamorized position that people think we have, and we became real people, you know, plain people. People that woke up and had stretch marks and definitely didn't go through a pretty day, or felt, you know, maybe a little nauseated, or felt like we looked fat. You know, we go through real life issues, and suddenly this glamorized industry becomes very touchable and realistic.
Oh, that is so adorable. I love that everyday kind of living scene, and that's what you go through, is everyday things that everybody else goes through. I understand our own Audrey Puente is going to be in the magazine.
I know! I'm so excited. Audrey is on the cover of Stork magazine, and she looked as hot can get, honey.
Well, we love her to death anyway.
I love her. She was so fun to shoot. She really has a lot of spunk, pep in her step, and it shows in her photograph.
But creating a magazine that's urban for pregnant women, I mean, how did you really come up with it?
Well, in all honesty, I am from New York City, so I am that urban mom. I've walked that walk. And I've also been a model for many years that became pregnant and didn't know what to do with my life. So it all came together effortlessly, and I had the resources because I did my homework during my pregnancy, and I had a list of names of clients to promote some of the new girls that became my expecting models.
So what are you going to do next?
You know, I'm going to congratulate Liza for finding her niche, and I feel like I've come into my own and I found a niche that I didn't quite foresee. And I think as maternity and motherhood evolves as a fashionable thing, then why not take everything that you put your efforts into and give it that same quality? And so right now I'm in a nonprofit, and I never thought a nonprofit could be fashionable or rock and animated oriented, but we're demystifying CPR techniques, and we're making it hip to be one of those parents that's in the know because they know what to do in a crisis. So I think if everybody just gives the same energy to anything they apply themselves, we can make everything very attractive, easy to understand, and relatively painless.
Just one last quick question. Are you finding that you're talking about subjects that never would have been talked about publicly before?
Never. I mean, talking about breastfeeding in public, talking about what to do with a child that might be choking, you think these are topics that would never happen to you. And after Farley visited Expecting Models and gave us all a refreshing course, I have to tell you, my daughter almost choked, and I knew what to do. I knew exactly what to do. I swept the bread right out of her mouth, and I wouldn't have even known she was choking. For a minute, all you see is a baby just sort of staying still and being very static and shaky, and now I know what to look for. But yes, the topics are now being embraced. We're going out there, we're standing tall as women.
And we're going to look for Audrey on the cover.
And we are. Yes, we are.
Thank you so much
You're
for joining us.
very welcome.
When Real Talk returns, we'll hear how the birth of Farley's third daughter was overshadowed by a near family tragedy. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We were speaking with fashion model Farley Boyle about her life as a runway mom. But just days after the birth of her third daughter, life for the Boyle family took a near tragic turn. With us again to tell us more is Farley Boyle. And also joining us is her daughter, who's waving. Wave again. It's okay. And what's your name? What's your name? Chase. Chase. And they have a very special story. First of all, now, take me back to the day, August 28, 2005. That's the day after arriving home from the hospital after giving birth to your third daughter. So tell us what happened that would change your life forever.
I got home from the hospital, and we were so excited to be celebrating this new gift of life that we had. And Chase was up in the bedroom with me, and she looked at me and she said, "Mommy, don't ever leave me again," because I had spent the night in a hospital for 2 days. And she looked out the window and she saw that my dad and her sister Mackenzie they were going on a fishing trip, and they were loading up the supplies, and she's like, "Mommy, they're going to leave me, they're going to leave me." So she ran down to the dock, and she was on the boat, and they had not put a life preserver on her because they were just unloading supplies. They had just gone to a tackle shop, and they were taking out their toys, and they put her on the boat as a kind of a built-in playpen, thinking that she'd be pretending she was driving, and she was only 2 years old. And basically she saw her sister, Mackenzie, with a net, and she was netting jellyfish on our floating dock. Chase let herself off the boat backwards in between our boat and the floating dock, and she slipped into the water without a sound or a splash. And my husband was probably 5 feet from her. Her big sister was watching kind of out of the corner of her eyes and must have noticed that she was missing, and suddenly screamed, "Daddy, Chase is in the water and she's not swimming." And when I got down there, I saw this commotion going on the dock, and when I got down to the dock, I saw this child. She was blue and comatose, and her eyes were catatonic, and she was completely not on the planet with us. And I thought to myself, 6 minutes ago, she was bigger than life, loving me so much, and in 6 minutes this can happen. Thankfully, I had signed up my husband and I for an optional CPR class when we were pregnant with our first daughter. And
so
that
you
was
had both taken the course?
5 years earlier. So he jumped right into action and immediately began trying to get the water out of her so that he could give her a breath of life and she would respond. And the first 2 rounds of CPR, she did not take. And I was praying. I was just like, please, God, please give us a second chance. Please don't take my child. My husband, on the other hand, decided that there was not a shot that she was going anywhere. So he kept on saying, come on, Chase. He goes, come on, baby. You got to breathe for Daddy. We've got to get this water out. He's like, come on, baby. Breathe for Daddy. And suddenly she responded, and she came back, and I just realized that at that moment I was going to do something about it because we had been given a second chance, and we had this beautiful, happy ending to kind of make a positive out of a negative experience.
Oh, my God.
It was
imagine what that was.
It was mind-blowing. I mean, it was really nothing. I just have never been the first person on the scene of a crime or an accident, so when you're looking at a loved one that is in such a fragile state of life, all of a sudden you really realize what's important to you, and there's no such thing as having a bad day again. So those road rage days or those days that you just think you can't take it
don't seem to matter.
Don't seem
compared
to matter.
to that. Now, you mentioned in the last segment that there is an organization that you formed, and you named it after Chase?
I started an organization called Chaseforlife, and it's an acronym that stands for CPR, Heimlich Awareness, Safety Education. What we did immediately after getting out of ICU is I had a clinic in my house where everyone on my street received this free, precious, basic life-saving skill education. Within 10 days, somebody saved their niece in a choking episode, and we decided if we could pay it forward within 10 days, why not take our show on the road? So we started this wonderful organization that makes sure we empower anyone that has a hand on a child with the basic life-saving skills needed to sustain a life until help can take over. So our goal is from the time an accident happens until that phone call's made, there's time, there's downtime. Then from the time that the ambulance arrives on the scene, the average ambulance response time in the United States is 5 to 20 minutes. So you don't know what you're getting. That's okay, you're okay, you're okay. So basically with the average ambulance response time and that downtime between the call, you need to know how to sustain a life. And our goal is to make every single person aware of how to do it. And we've demystified it by using fashion and rock and animation to kind of make it hip and to make people think they're in the know if they know what to do.
So, Chase, you think you're doing okay today? You think okay? I think she's doing okay.
I think I'm fine for not getting sick.
I think you did just fine for being able to sit there for all that time, too. Have a sip of water, okay? Okay. Thank you so very much for joining us. It's a great organization, and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Next, creating a best-selling idea can be as hard as winning the lottery.